So one day I actually want to make a video about Lilith from Darkstalkers and talk about her history. Maybe one day. It definitely won't be anytime soon. I got my own other shit to worry about right now. But I got like a reputation right now for just simping this one character. And barely anyone's come to me and asked like, oh, Kaizou, why do you do this? Why not Morrigan? Why specifically Lilith? Or just why her in general, right? So, from way back when I started playing Darkstalkers 3, I picked Morrigan. Morrigan was like the first character that obviously pops out to everyone. She's essentially just the face of the series now. And, I see her, I'm like, damn, dude, she looks cool. But then I see this other character. She's all in red, purple hair. Like, I feel like Lilith's colors popped out to me more. I just liked her combination of colors more when I first saw her playable. So I was like, okay, who is she? And she played, not exactly similar. She had some, I learned more of her history. It's like, oh, she's not exactly a clone. She's a split off part of Morrigan. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought, that's pretty sad though. You're stuck, moving around doing your own thing, separated from someone that's essentially just your original self. And you gotta kind of deal with that shit like that. Like, it wasn't really extreme. I'm not gonna go to the whole history of Lilith because this is not the video for that. But I did like the idea of, Lilith being a part of Morrigan in the first place. And when she was split apart, she was now getting into becoming her own person. She started to fight people. She has this sense of wanting to go back to Morrigan, but at the same time, she wants to be her own self. She wants to be free. And when she fused back into Morrigan and Morrigan became, a somewhat better person over it, it kind of made me sad though, because I actually like the idea of Lilith, a person being split from someone else and learning what it means to be themselves and then returning back to them. I don't know, just something about Lilith just popped out to me more, other than her colors and her little story of what Lilith was in Darkstalkers. I actually felt for her, like I just plus I just like playing her more. I suck at Darkstalkers. Let me just get that out of the way. I suck at Darkstalkers, and it pisses me off that I suck, but I picked Lilith because I thought she was like, a character I just, vibe with more, and I did. I actually got somewhat decent, even though my gameplay on my channel doesn't really reflect that so much. But yeah, there's like the whole deal with, what does Lilith mean to Morrigan? People like kind of like, treat them like sisters. That's what I pretty much do. I just treat them like sisters. Some people, treat them like if they were like, fighting each other because they were split. Or, some people would portray them as them being caring and, hugging each other and shit like that. Me, I like the sister angle a lot. Like I like the idea of, what if Lilith just stayed split from Morrigan? They could be sisters, stuff like that. I like that idea, I know, obviously, Lilith is a part of Morrigan, and fusing back into Morrigan makes, it's simple, but at the same time, like, no, can I just keep Lilith here? Like, people always ask me, it's like, dude, why do you just not go after Morrigan? I think it's because I've been mostly overexposed to Morrigan, like on top of Lilith, just having having a much better design, in my opinion. I mean, Morrigan has a great design, but I like Lilith more. But at the same time, like, I've seen Morrigan so much that, like, every time I see her, I'm kind of just like Morrigan gets into everything, she gets into Capcom versus SNK, she gets into Marvel versus Capcom, etc. Like, she gets in, when you see Capcom crossovers, Morrigan more often than not is always there, and it makes sense. She's the face of Darkstalkers, of course she's going to get in there. But the thing is, the one reason I feel bad for Lilith in some of the cases, because she doesn't get that much love compared to Morrigan. Now, she doesn't have much to her, I will admit that. Morrigan, these characters do, right? These characters do, Lilith does, but at the same time, Morrigan obviously gets more, special treatment, screen time, and, obviously. But I think it's because the lack of care that Lilith gets that makes me like her more, Like, it's like one of those obscure characters that you've known for years and no one really knows, but you actually give a shit about this character, and you care because no one else cares. You feel like you have to, because in order to make up for everyone else not caring, And I don't know, I like this idea of just them being sisters. It's a kind of cute thing, and it kind of bums me out that, obviously she's going to return her anyway. And Lilith is pretty much the whole thing, because obviously her body was temporary, and she's going around trying to find her, original body, being Morrigan, because she doesn't want to die, Like, it's like, it's messed up. Like, you get brought out, right? and you just learn that you're not even like real. Essentially, you're not even real, and you're on the verge of dying because there's someone else you came from. And it's a really sad story. She wants to survive, she wants to live, she wants to gain freedom, but at the same time, she has this sense of longing to return back to Morgan. It's like a big conflict. Now, they don't go too deep on that in Darkstalkers or any other media that Lilith is portrayed in. They don't go, they go somewhat on it, but they don't go like deep as I would love it to, like really psychologically deep. They don't go that far ever. She pities Lilith and, you know, merges with her. And not only that, Morgan is aware of Lilith being a part of her, she is starting to be a lot more friendly, you know, seeing a, you know, new lease on life and whatnot. And I like that. You know, it's sad to me, you know, even after that, even in Morgan's and Lilith's cases, it will always be that Lilith will return to Morgan. And it kind of bums me. It's like, it makes me feel sad, you know? But it's funny. I don't know. Like, I pretty much after it stops right there, like after the whole deal, like you say, okay, so Lilith's now part of Morgan, and that's pretty much it. That's the end of that. Now, Lilith does appear in different, you know, Capcom-related media, but as of the base Darkstalkers series, it's just said that Lilith is a part of Morgan. And I've always had the idea, if Darkstalkers ever came back, will Lilith come back? And I always had that fear. It's like, man, if Darkstalkers ever came back, I had the sinking feeling that Lilith will never return, and that sucks, because I actually like her, you know? Again, she's not, like, she doesn't get much in regards to character to her. I mean, she does, but, like, it's not on the same level as someone like Morgan, or, and this is Darkstalkers, you know, the whole premise is just wacky characters. These wacky characters fighting each other, like, well, even more wacky than usual characters. And, you know, I just like looking into the history of this character to see where she's been. I mean, she's been, you know, the games like what? She's been like Vampire Savior, Lord Savior. She was in like what, Darkstalkers Chronicle, the Chaos Tower, which is for the PSP. She was in Darkstalkers Resurrection, because it's obviously just a port of, I think it's just a port of, I have Darkstalkers Resurrection, but I haven't played that game in so damn long. I know it's the first and second games with a bunch of unlockables and stuff, and I think it also has rollback to it, so there's also that. There's also Japanese only games she was in, so there's that too. If I remember correctly, there's also other games. I'm trying to remember the other games she was in. She was in Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, and that's because she was a Lilith, she was like a color swap, like a color palette swap of Morgan, which, damn it. And she was also in SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters, which I don't count, and she was also in the second version of that game. I know she was in Namco Cross Capcom for the PlayStation 2 back in the day, and she was also in the Card Fighters game, SNK vs. Capcom. I know she was in Cross Edge. There's also Onimusha Soul and Mina to Akashic Heroes, and the only reason I remember those games is because I freaking had to upload the pictures on YouTube, not YouTube, my bad, Twitter. And Mina to Akashic Heroes is a mobile game. She was also in Zombie Cafe, which is a mobile game. Onimusha Soul is a browser game, so, you know, she's not in much. And there's also games like, there's also games she made appearances in, which I'm not even going to really talk about much. Like, she made appearances with Capcom Fighting Gym, because she was like in what, Felicia's ending, I remember that. Like, I scoured forever across the internet in games I've played just to find anything of Lilith. And I know she was in, God, where? I know she was in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. And I know that because when Morgan uses her Darkness Illusion move, Lilith pops in as a secondary attacker. So there's that. She was also, for some reason, she's also a Jury DLC costume for Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition, which, damn it. Oh, I like when her costume comes back, though. I do love her design. You know, it's not, like, it's just something about the colors on Lilith that pop out more to me than Morgan. You know, like, it's like a complete opposite kind of thing. You know, even body type. They're complete opposites, and I love it. You know, they have the same general idea, succubi vampires, but at the same time, they go two different directions. She's fun to play as. She's cute as hell, and I just, you know, love playing as her. She's not gonna come back in any fashion. Like, and knowing that Capcom doesn't really think of much of Darkstalkers these days, every attention that, you know, the Aensland family is going to get is just mostly Morgan. You know, we're never going to see another game again where she comes back as a character. Like, that's all I really wanted, just to see Lilith come back in some fashion as a character. I mean, again, she really was only like a playable fighting character back in Darkstalkers 3. You can't really count the Card Fighters. You can't really count Capcom vs. Namco. You can't really count the Cross Edge game. Like, you can't do that, and it sucks, really. But Ain't nothing I can do about it. I'm not Capcom. Capcom's not cool. If Capcom was cool, they would have Lilith in more games. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. Honestly, it's hard for me to describe why I like Lilith other than what I've said, you know, and at the end, it's kind of, like, I know it's good for Morrigan in the case of Lilith returning back, and obviously Lilith could have died anyway if she had not returned to Morrigan, but at the same time, I feel it's really tragic because not only you got your own existence now, you have freedom now, you're doing what you want, but you have to go back to where you came from, and, you know, Morrigan still feels Lilith in there, but it just ain't the same, you know, like, if I were writing Darkstalkers, yeah, I would have just kept freaking Lilith out there, man. I would have just kept her out there. I was just like, you know what? Delete Morrigan, replace her with Lilith. Lilith needs to be the main character of her own Darkstalkers gang. I would have totally done that. That would have been stupid, and Capcom would have never ran with that. But but other than that, yeah, that's all I gotta say about why I like Lilith, honestly. Again, it's not really a big video. I can spend hours and hours to talk about why I like this one character. I like her design. I like her little story. Her ending is tragic to me, even though not many people think about it. And I just like, you know, just the general character. Plus her gameplay is fun. And that's it. That's why I like Lilith from Darkstalkers. One day I will make a video where I talk about her history. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. But one day I will make a video talking about her history and what game she appeared in. Other than that, I'm out here, guys. Lilith, best girl. Sorry, Morgan. I just have to let you go because I'm tired of seeing you. Also, just wanted to show a bonus image at the end of this video. So I write a story called Grand Highlander, We Are Finally Daredevils. And one of the main heroines of the story, and her name is Kana Kagatsuchi. And a friend of mine actually drew a picture of Kana as Lilith from Darkstalkers, and it's honestly the best thing I've ever had ever. Like, I love my character so much, and the fact that I got art of one of my characters drawn as Lilith from Darkstalkers is like the best thing ever. I don't know what to say. I'm still like, getting choked up just talking about it. I just love it.